Good evening, you're watching Kenya's third most preferred TV station. This is Switch TV News at 7. I am Lincoln Ombogwa with sign language interpreter is Teresia Washira, and these are the top stories. Parents decry lack of implementation on school fees reduction as the first quarter of the school calendar begins. Mathira legislator Rigathi Gachagua freed on a 12 million shillings bail after spending the weekend in remand. Tonight, we get to interact with Global General Manager Priscilla Mohio on this week's episode of Know Your CEO. Glad you're watching. Over 30 minutes of the broadcast begins now. As the first quarter of the school calendar begins, Teachers Service Commission has expressed concerns that over 40% of the teachers are yet to be vaccinated due to vaccine availability. Here's Rachel Duarte with a full report.
As learners prepare to a new academic calendar, it is clear that it will be the first time schools will have all learners back in school since March 2020 closure upon the first case of COVID-19 reported in the country. Although Kenyan schools have already resumed today, little is known on the preparedness of the teachers in terms of COVID-19. Today, the TSC released survey findings on the level of preparedness of schools with relevance to the pandemic.
44.4% I think are those teachers who have not received any vaccination at all to quickly go and get the jab, especially now that the school term has started and all the children are back in school. Please, dear teachers, go and take that jab. Fellow teachers, let us take the ongoing immunization exercise seriously, as COVID-19 is not sparing anyone. For instance, we have so far lost 73 teachers to the virus.
TSC CEO Nancy Macharia say that as schools reopen, teachers would be required to wear masks and wash their hands regularly with soap and running water or use sanitizers.
We are aware that with the return of the 15 million learners and the classrooms, resources will be more constrained. Yet, as teachers, we must adopt more innovative measures.
I am happy to know that the evidence presented here today point the fact that teachers are ready for full reopening. It has rightly been put across by Dr. Dabori, and you have seen that and the Minister of Health should know that the teachers are very aware of actually all the procedures, the way you have explained them here.
The officials present also noted challenges facing the education sector with regards to financial and psychosocial support. Despite the assurance by the TSC, concerns still arise on not only safety of teachers but also students in schools and their susceptibility to the coronavirus pandemic.
The first phase targeted specific groups: teachers, healthcare workers, security forces, and persons above 58 years of age. But now, with the increased number of doses from next month, we are going to reach out to everybody within communities.
The Teachers Service Commission and the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development are now prepared to start a new academic calendar, but the question still remains on whether the parents are willing to start this new calendar with the said unpreparedness that is in place. Rachel Duarte, Switch TV.
Thank you, Rachel Duarte. Still in matters education, parents taking their children back to school are decrying that the school fees reduction announced by Education Secretary Professor George Magoha has not yet been implemented as schools reopen. In the same breath, students going back to school have also decried of hike in bus fare, asking the necessary stakeholders to intervene and help out. Our reporter Bron Mwenda was on ground today and has prepared the following report.
Parents taking back their children to school have asked Education Cabinet Secretary George Magoha to ensure that the school fees reduction announced last week is effected even as schools reopen from today.
Kabla shule sina maana hii mambo ya COVID ilileta shida, kazi zikafungwa, hata ukienda kwa mkahawa hakuna pesa utapata, unaenda hata mtoto anaingia grade 1, sina pesa, sina hata kukula. Hiyo vitabu walimu wanaitiza vitabu, wanaitiza school fees na mimi sina.
The process of opening up schools today has started. What you can see behind me is a brigade of students who are eager to go back to their schools. And maybe you can get a bite from these students telling us, are you psyched up about the next term?
Yeah. Si leo ndo tunafungua shule. na tuko na tu shida fulani, si unaona hadi fare imepanda. Gari haziko mingi, tunapata zimejaa. Unajua kuna bado watu wana travel washaenda, lakini sisi unajua ni mastudia, hatuna ile fare ya kutosha, tumezoea ile 400 lakini tunapata imepanda.
School fees kwetu ni expe, bado mzazi hajamaliza, sato bado ninatumwa fees. So unapata it's a big challenge to us especially us as students, not even the parents. The parents, the children are really struggling.
As schools resume, different businesses have also witnessed an increase in traffic.
Biashara imekuwaje leo?
Leo imekuwa tofauti kwa sababu watoto wamekuwa wengi wakirudi shule. Ingawa wako wanataka kunywa chai kama wameketi, ni kubeba chapati wakienda, mandazi wakienda kwa sababu ya masaa.
Brian Mwenda, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Brian Mwende. After spending the weekend in remand, Mathira Member of Parliament Rigathi Gachagua has been freed on a 12 million shillings bail or 25 million shillings bond. Gachagua, who was arrested last Friday, was arraigned before Chief Magistrate Lawrence Mugambi and charged with 6 counts, which he all denied. Rigathi's lead counsel, Kioko Kilumia, said he will appeal for the bail charges to be reduced. Namukini Samuel reports.
You indirectly received Kenya shilling 7,508,000.
The court has freed Mathira Member of Parliament Rigathi Gachagua on a 12 million shillings bail or 25 million shillings bond after he pleaded not guilty to 6 counts of 7.4 billion graft. The court further directed that the MP surrenders his passport and should not contact witnesses. Gachagua, who was arrested last Friday, was arraigned before Chief Magistrate Lawrence Mugambi and charged with conspiracy to commit an offence of corruption, fraudulent acquisition of public property, money laundering, acquisition of proceeds of crime and conflict of interest. He was charged alongside 9 others who were not before the court. The other accused persons were summoned to appear before the court on August 3rd, with a pre-trial scheduled for August 9th. The United Democratic Alliance Party has since accused the government of intimidating its leaders after claiming Kiambaa by-election has motivated the government to torment those with a contrary opinion.
Ukionekana na deputy president, haraka unaanza kuchuguzwa. Mimi mnakumbuka nilishikwa ati kuna kalamu pengine ya mwanafunzi wa nursery school my desk mate ilikuwa imekosa. Obnoxious things ambayo wanatafutiria vitu huko chini so that they try to diminish our voice. But I have good news to the Hustler Nation. We are sons of Mau Mau, most of us, and we cannot be cowed. Every Kenyan in Kenya has the freedom to hold money and have money in their pockets. And that is what all the Hustler Nation is about. Therefore, let us just tell them, we shall not be intimidated. We shall not. That they can take to the bank. We are ready for their persecution, but time will vindicate each and every one of us.
Exactly a year ago, the High Court froze more than 200 million shillings into accounts belonging to the Mathira legislature. Rigathi spent 5 years as Uhuru Kenyatta's personal assistant in the early 2000s, but is now one of the president's fiercest critics. The MP first tasted power when he was appointed the Assistant Secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs and National Heritage.
Na tungetaka kuambia wenzetu wale walikuwa wanaogopa, wanatishwa na Matiang'i, wanatishwa na Kebicho, wanatishwa na Kenoti, wawache uoga.
He had earlier undergone paramilitary training at the Administration Police Institute that prepared him for a career in the government. Namukana Samuel, Switch TV.
Thank you, Namukani Samuel. Meanwhile, Director of Public Prosecutions Nurdin Haji says corrupt individuals who put honest, hard-working citizens at a disadvantage must pay for their crimes in order to protect law-abiding Kenyans. Addressing a stakeholders' workshop on anti-corruption, the DPP has reiterated that the country's prosperity will not be built on quicksand of corruption, but through hard work, justice, fairness, accountability, and a high fidelity to the rule of law.
Corruption and economic crimes being cross-border in nature, strengthening regional and international cooperation will further improve the use of mutual legal assistance and extradition in cases where corruption and economic crimes transcend our borders.
An effective and long-term sustainable war against crime, and in particular organized crime such as corruption, it is critical for all actors in the criminal justice system to focus on 3 main areas that I see they are key in the win against corruption. That is strengthening institutional, legal, and policy framework to ensure effective administration of justice.
There are currently 995 cases pending before the special magistrates and judges in the Anti-Corruption Division of the High Court countrywide. Of these, 310 cases are corruption cases pending before the Magistrates' Court, while 685 are civil cases for the recovery of proceeds of corruption, recovery of public assets, forfeiture of unexplained wealth, and constitutional petitions pending before the High Court and the Court of Appeal.
Well, that story takes us to a short commercial break. Stay tuned, we'll be back with more. Welcome back and thank you for keeping it Switch TV. Send in your feedback to our SMS line 111 at Switch TV Kenya and at Lincoln, Wimbogo. President Uhuru Kenyatta has arrived in the United Kingdom for a four-day bilateral meeting with his host UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. President Kenyatta's visit to the UK comes at a time when Kenya is still on the red line, barring Kenyans from travelling to the UK as a result of restrictions set to curtail the spread of the COVID-19 Delta variant between the two countries. Robert Homer with the details.
President Uhuru Kenyatta's four-day visit in the European country comes at a time when Kenya-UK business relation is shaking after the United Kingdom blocked 60 countries from conducting their visits, with Kenya topping the list. Barely a week ago, the United Kingdom lobbed Kenya's request to be removed from the list, hence putting to a standstill the businesses being conducted between the two countries. But according to the Kenya's High Commissioner to the UK, Manoe Sipisu, the president's visit is aimed at strengthening their country's strategic partnership. The Kenyan diplomat has indicated that during the visit, President Uhuru Kenyatta is scheduled to hold bilateral talks with the Prime Minister Boris Johnson to review other areas of the Kenya's UK strategic partnership.
The target for this fundraiser effectively is $5 billion dollars. A lot of this money has already been raised along the last few months. As you might be aware, the president has been busy talking to fellow heads around the world, urging them to put the money where their mouth is.
He has pointed out that the strategic partnership is a broad framework for the cooperation which covers a wide array of bilateral subjects between the two nations among the trade and investment.
As you know, this area covers key areas like mutual prosperity. So mutual prosperity are things like investment, business, and areas around the business climate. It does include security and defense, regional security specifically, because we as Kenya, we live in a fairly tricky region, and we collaborate with our partners around the world, including the United Kingdom.
Kenya, Rwanda and Uganda are among the 60 countries in the United Kingdom's red list. Robert Omer, Switch TV News.
Thank you, Robert Omer. On this week's episode of Know Your CEO, we get to interact with Global General Manager Priscilla Mohio. Take a look. Ever want to know how a CEO sees her world? Then here's how. Apart from running an organization and strategizing, their key role is to ensure there is money in the bank. Our CEO this week is Priscilla Mohio, the General Manager for Glovo in Kenya. Priscilla, thank you for creating time.
Thank you also for hosting me. I'm very honored to be here.
What is Glovo all about?
Glovo is an application that enables Kenyans to literally get anything delivered. For example, if you need food and you want to get some food from your popular restaurant, you just go into Glovo, select the restaurant you want, select the food you want, and then once you place the order, we are able to deliver the order within 45 minutes. In some situations like groceries, it may take longer because, especially if it's a big order, it may take longer, but our aim is to get it below 45 minutes. So I remember there's a time I was actually doing the picking where I was doing the delivery myself, and I got an order that had 90 items.
Let's switch gears a bit. Let's talk about Priscilla. Who is Priscilla Mohio? Now that you're General Manager, what has your journey been like?
Well, my journey has been interesting. I can even start from what I did in campus. I did food science and technology in campus. And the journey has been amazing. So from Kalahari, I moved to OLX. I was at OLX for 6 years. And then I moved to Sandy for about a year. And then I am now at Glovo for the last 2 years. I joined Glovo as the head of marketing for Africa. But I started being interested in general management, and I kept on, telling my boss if there's any opportunity for me to become a general manager, because I wanted to stop specializing in marketing, because I believed I'd already done whatever I could do in marketing. And when the opportunity was presented to me to be the general manager of Kenya, I took it. And it's been a year since, and the journey has been amazing. I've learned a lot because I'm coming from a marketing background. I've had to learn very, very quickly how to run operations, how to understand finance, understand all the aspects of the business, and it's been a tremendous journey.
The on-demand delivery services noted a significant boost during this COVID-19 pandemic period. Now, what lessons did you learn from this?
The key lesson, actually, let me start with the management side of things. The key lesson for me as a leader was I realized that I needed to be more empathetic now more than ever.
You mentioned earlier that Nairobi would become the regional hub for Glovo. Has this been realized?
Yes, it is. It has been. For example, for our customer service here serves Nigeria, Ghana, Uganda. So yes, we're already a hub as it is.
What does Glovo becoming the regional hub for Africa mean to the Kenyan economy?
Obviously creating employment for Kenyans. For example, right now in the hub, in our Live Ops hub, we have 80 people working there. And then over and beyond that, we have over 1,600 couriers on the streets. We are providing them with an income, a daily income. And then we also have partners, over 3,000 partners on the platform. Partners here are the stores that we are onboarding on the platform. And these guys, we're also providing for them a platform for them to be able to acquire customers and generate revenue.
What's the future of e-commerce in Kenya? Not just Kenya, but Africa as a whole.
I think we're in the infancy stage. I think we've barely scratched the surface when it comes to e-commerce. And the reason why I'm saying this is because internet is becoming cheaper and cheaper. People are having more and more access to smartphones. And as you know, Kenya is a very young population. 50% of the population is below the age of 20 years. So it means in 5 years from now, these people will now join the group that is addressable in terms of as a market, a target market. So that tells you that the market, we've barely scratched the surface. We are yet to see the best of e-commerce.
Now, away from the serious stuff, let's get to know Priscilla Mohio in depth. This is Quickfire, Priscilla. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Have you ever ordered a Glovo?
Of course.
Have you ever ordered for something and you got something different?
Yes, I ordered for lactose-free milk. I got, the opposite.
Have you ever been conned?
No, really. Conned? No.
What car do you drive?
I drive a Dualis, Nissan Dualis.
What do you do beyond office?
Beyond office, I'm actually training to become a professional dancer. Actually, if you go to my Instagram page, you'll see all my videos attempting to dance.
What book are you reading now?
Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Priscilla, what advice do you have for startups?
For startups, resilience. It's not easy. So what I've seen, even being at OLX and also at Glovo, also Sandy was a startup. It's being resilient. You really have to push hard. And it's not a typical 8 to 5 job, I can assure you that. You really have to be, sometimes you have to go beyond your 8 to 5, but resilience is key when it comes to startups. It gets tough, very tough sometimes. Yeah.
Indeed, for Priscilla Mohio, the General Manager for Glovo in Kenya, resilience is key. Now, the conversation on Know Your CEO continues next Monday. Many thanks for watching. Good evening. And from the business desk, the Cabinet Secretary, Trade and Industrialization Betty Maina has urged local manufacturers to promote the sale of locally made products in the upcoming trade fair. Micro, small and medium enterprises contribute up to 3% to the gross domestic product of Kenya, but still face a challenge in terms of credit access. Flora Limuki narrates.
The 21st East African Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Trade Fair is set to be held in Tanzania in December 2021. Speaking during the launch of the organizing committee for the event, the CS Trade and Industrialization Betty Maina has emphasized that they aim at promoting products made in Kenya in a bid to promote the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya initiative.
Government support is intended to boost markets for goods that are made in Kenya. So the responsibility of the organizing committee is to carefully vet the products that will be exhibited by Kenya, to vet the producers of the same, to ensure that should a tender be given by Mwanza government as a result of your presence there, that you're actually capable of producing it, that you're not going to take that tender and go and look for somebody to make it for you in another country.
Due to the COVID-19 pandemic effect, the medium and small enterprises in the country have been highly affected, mostly in terms of accessing finance to support their businesses. This is because banks now need a collateral or a guarantee that the lenders will pay the loan.
Okay, so the challenges of financing SME, they are high risk. They are high risk borrowers, meaning that they don't have collateral. Their businesses have been affected by COVID-19, and so they may not have the cash flows that the financial institutions are looking for.
According to the SMEs Report 2020, small businesses contribute to 98% of employment in Kenya and 3% to the gross domestic product. The recent increase in the taxes has also dealt a blow to the small business owners. For SME sector to grow in Kenya and East Africa at large, there's need for the government to support them both financially and in terms of market access. Flora Limuki, Switch TV.
Thank you, Flora Limuki. The Senate Committee on Information, Communication and Technology has lauded the progress made in the development of Konza Technopolis, assuring that the journey towards building a tech city is ongoing. During the site visit, the committee inspected the progress made in the operationalizing the National Data Center, which was early this month launched by President Uhuru Kenyatta when he toured the project. The committee members have been briefed on various aspects of the project status and appraised on the legal and financial status of Konza. A achievements the authority has made, ongoing activities, challenges and possible areas of legislative and policy collaboration between the committee and the authority.
With the constraints of funding which they've had, we've discussed those aspects. But most of all, what has encouraged us here is that they have achieved their targets which they wanted to achieve in spite of the constraints. They are now making what we always wanted this place, Technopolis, to be, was to be a hub for technology and innovation.
And from the sports desk, Kenya's car Flash Tundo clocked 2 hours, 7 minutes and 36 seconds to win the just concluded African Rally Championship Series held in Tanzania.